Good morning, students. Today I am going to begin with a new chapter of Geography, Chapter 12, Insolation. What is insolation? The solar energy intercepted by the Earth is called insolation. Now, how the Earth and its atmosphere gets heated? The sun is the only important source of energy for the Earth's atmosphere. It supplies essentially all the energy that supports life on Earth and energizes most of the atmosphere's processes. The sun functions as an enormous thermonuclear reactor, producing energy by fusion, a process that provides an immense and continuous flow of radiant energy. Waves, which are classified on the basis of wavelength, that is short and long wavelength. These are waves that can transport energy without requiring a medium. Earth's distance from the sun results in the interception of a very small fraction of sun energy. The incoming solar energy intercepted by the Earth is defined as insolation. The incoming solar radiation is received in the form of short waves. Heat in the form of short wave is not as easily absorbed as the long waves. A considerable amount of insolation is reflected back into space by clouds, snowfields, and oceans. The atmosphere absorbs only 14% of the incoming insolation. Now, terrestrial radiations. The sun heat energy is absorbed by the earth and its atmosphere during the day. At night, this heat which is absorbed by the earth and its atmosphere is radiated out by the earth and its atmosphere. The sun's energy absorbed by the earth's surface and radiated out into space is called terrestrial radiation. In other words, the insolation radiated out by the earth is called terrestrial radiation. Terrestrial radiation is in the form of long waves. These long waves are more readily absorbed by the molecules of gases in the atmosphere. Out of the 51 units of insolation that are absorbed by the earth, all 51 units are radiated out, most during the night. Out of the 51 units of terrestrial radiation given out by the earth, 34 units are absorbed by the atmosphere. This means that the atmosphere absorbs only 14% of the incoming insolation. By terrestrial radiation giving out by the earth than by the incoming insolation. The atmosphere also gives out the heat absorbed. Thus, a balance is maintained between the amount of heat that enters the earth's atmosphere and that which leaves it. The amount of energy received and lost by the atmosphere is called the heat budget or heat balance. The atmosphere acts like a blanket at night. The atmosphere keeps the Earth's surface warm by preventing all the terrestrial radiation from escaping. During the day, the atmosphere prevents the Earth from becoming too hot by not allowing all the insolation to reach the Earth. Thus, the atmosphere prevents extremes of temperatures. Without the atmosphere, the Earth would become very hot during the day and very cold at night. Now, factors affecting the distribution of temperature. Atmospheric temperature refers to the degree of warmth in the air, as a shortwave radiation coming from the sun cannot be absorbed in the atmosphere. The air is not heated up by the incoming solar energy. The energy received from the sun is absorbed by the earth's surface and the surface gets heated. The heated surface of the earth radiates energy in the form of long wave radiation that can be absorbed by the atmosphere. The atmosphere thus gets the energy radiated by the earth. Distribution of temperature on the surface of the earth is highly uneven. While the areas close to the equator experiences sweltering heat, those near the poles experience biting cold. Major factors affecting the distribution of temperature are the latitude, altitude, the distance from the sea, wind. Effects of these factors on the distribution of temperature are described below. First one is latitude. Latitude of a place determines the angle of incidence of the sun rays. The sun rays are closest to and vertical between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. At every place in this zone, the sun is exactly vertical at least once a year. Therefore, this zone gets the maximum insolation and has the highest temperature. Moving towards the poles, the sun's rays becoming increasingly slanting. Therefore, the temperature decreases from equator to poles. Even within India, places in the southern part of the country which are closer to the equator are warmer than the places in the northern region.